Yep.
All right, what's up, folks? Here we go. Moving on to red. Looking at the commons, uncommons, and then rares. Starting off with Immolation. Well, reprint action. Single red for an aura enchanted creature gets +2, -2.
Yeah, a little red dead weight in a way. Maybe you
Sure.
can sometimes finish, put it on a trampler creature to get in the last few points too. This is a good card. There's going to be a
It's just
lot of
hyper
things to pick
efficient.
up. Yeah, hyper efficient, exactly. I liked the point you made on what was the this week where you're like, oh, I wonder if this was like a shock variant in before, but they made an enchantment so the
Yeah, to just like
spells
nerf
stuff.
the blue red deck a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
I
that's kind
wouldn't
of
be
funny.
surprised if that's true. Like, because
Yeah.
it seems odd otherwise. Like, why?
Well, it's to enable delirium, clearly.
The delirium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, this is a good card though. I think I'm gonna start this as like a B minus.
Wow,
Yeah,
that seems high to me.
he's just so efficient.
I'm gonna go C plus. You
Okay,
think
fair enough.
B minus? Well, the problem is it's not quite like dead weight, right? Because you can't just put it on any creature to shrink it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I know. All
All
right,
right.
what's next?
Next, we've got Raise the Effigy. This is a single red mana for an instant. Destroy target artifact or target attacking creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
I mean, there's like 4 artifacts in the set. So.
Yeah, you're not gonna be dying to play this. This is pretty much a D minus. You're very unhappy if you have to play this card.
I mean, oh yeah, it's only attacking creatures. Never mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. D minus sounds good.
Sweet.
Valderran Stinger, single red for a 1/1 vampire warrior. Valderran Stinger has first strike as long as it's attacking. 2 in a red. Valderran Stinger gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It's Pup. The Pup is back.
Yeah, the pup is back, and the pup can activate multiple times too.
That's true. Yeah, that
So
is pretty
so
good.
I think this is kind of the epitome of the vampire deck on the draw versus on the play. When you have this on the play, oh man, it's really good. You have your 1-drop first striking in, and then on turn 3 you get first crack at start of activation. When it's on the draw, it's really awkward. I think this is probably going to be a card you're going to play in your best vampire decks, right?
Yeah,
Just like
I think so.
it's low curve. These red 1-drops, vary how good they are. Sometimes they're quite good. Sometimes they're like pretty mediocre. We'll see where this one lands, but I'm willing to start at this set like a C.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm in for C as well on the Stinger.
Also, just small thing for your werewolf deck is a place to put your mana when you don't
Yeah,
want to cast the
that's
spell.
yeah, it might be also
Right?
applicable there. Yeah, that's a good point.
Next up, we have Abandon the Post. This is a 1 in a red for a sorcery. Up to 2 target creatures cannot block this turn. Has flashback for 3 in a red.
This is an actual or functional reprint from a card from Innistrad.
Yeah,
Right?
Nightbird's Clutches.
Nightbird's Clutches.
Yeah.
That's right. That was a. I mean, I think the Vampires deck is better. Like the aggro deck is better here.
Yeah, red aggro kind of sucked in original Innistrad,
Right.
which was a big,
But
a
that
big
card
problem.
was like also kind of fine in that.
Yeah,
set.
it wasn't the worst. Do we want to play it here? It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's like a weird fault. Like that, you want these kind of effects, like these falter, things can't block, for like the board stalling kind of games, and like when that happens, you want all of the things to not be able to block. If you're just casting as like kind of on curve, it's a little bit awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super hot on this. I think it might play it a little bit better than it looks potentially, but I think I'm going to start at like a D.
Yeah, I think I'll go D plus, but I agree. It's not
Cool.
not anything exciting there.
All right, next up we've got Falcon Roth Perforator. This is 1 in a red for a 2/1 vampire, and when it attacks, it deals a damage to the defending player.
That is cool. That
Yeah.
even if your stuff gets blocked, you still get to trigger your like damage matters stuff
Mhm.
post combat, and it's just tacked onto a little 2-2-1. This seems like a solid C to me.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like it's a little awkward because it's going to trade with anything. Like it doesn't attack particularly. Like it does a good job of enabling your other cards, but it doesn't really attack very well on its own, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I would start a C minus. I think it's going to be like if you have enough of the payoffs, you want this. But I think you're, to go back to the black, the 2/1 can't block. I think you're going to want that over this most of the time.
That's why I gave it a C plus.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And then this is C.
Point
So
taken.
we're just
All
really
right.
shifted there a little bit.
Moving on.
Next up is Festival Crasher. 1 in a red for a 1/3 devil. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And this is sort of what I'm talking about with the like. We're seeing it even here with the 2-drops of your blue-red deck wants this. Your red-black deck wants the other one, right? Like,
yeah.
and we're gonna see that when we get to the 4-drops as well.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good version of this style of card. Just
Yeah.
like being coming a 3/3 with one spell, pretty nice. Again, you're gonna want your considers, your 1 mana cards. I think even like a red black deck, this card's not bad, right? Like you're gonna have enough spells, you're gonna have enough removal where kill the thing, get him for 3. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Who knows how these decks are going to be made up? I think the red black decks want to be really high creature counts.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I think in a red blue deck, this feels like a solid C to me.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, next up we've got Lambholt Harrier, 2 in a red for a 2/2. It's a wolf and it's got a 4-mana activated ability, 2 in a red. Target creature can't block this turn.
And like, yeah, you'll play this in other decks, but then this is the 2-drop deck that your werewolf deck wants. Like
yeah, I actually like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, super solid. Like just in the mid game, it's going to be often what holds you back in the mid game when you're playing like a green red aggro deck where they're like kind of like beefy creatures is like, well, they have a pretty decent double block here, right? But like this pretty cleanly solves the problem just on your 2-drop creature. Just the ability like that one thing can't block that often makes blocks a lot harder for the opponent. So solid 2-drop.
And I'll tell you, activated abilities are great in the werewolf.
Exactly.
Deck, right? You decide, hey, it enables an attack, and then you go, hey, I did something with my mana, and I get it to be night next turn. See, yeah,
cool. All right,
red getting some good 2s here.
Up next, we've got Stolen Vitality. This is 1 red for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. If it's your turn, that creature gains trample. Otherwise, it gains first strike.
This just looks exactly like Andy Samberg to me. I cannot unsee it. I think this is great, right? Like I love that you get to that it's
a little modal. Yeah,
trample on attacks and first strike on blocks, which is what you want. I mean, you don't want to be casting combat tricks on blocks that much, but
there was just what was it? Brute Strength. It's just this card, that card, but like we just get the bonus of first strike on blocks as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that card's like been a pretty good trick in the past. So yeah,
we didn't play it in AFR. There was the +3/+1 trample trick. You didn't play that.
It didn't have trample though.
It didn't?
Nope.
No, I guess not. No, you're right.
Yeah,
both strength that trample. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one is I'm gonna be 3/3 in trample on your like already large werewolves. That's gonna end a lot of games. So I think you're pretty happy with a copy or two of this.
Yeah, I'd say C for the first copy, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Next up is Brimstone Vandal. 2 in a red, 2/3 Devil with Menace. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day when it ETBs. And whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you deal 1 damage to each opponent, no matter what they say.
You'd think they would have keyworded that to like I don't know. Maybe that's too many keywords, but yeah. Pretty medium card here, right? Like 2/3 Menace is not the greatest body. Like you said before, it's often a lot better to have a 3/2 Menace. And you'll ping them.
Was this too good as a 3/2? Like
3/2 Menace is actually a really good stat line. Yeah. I think
that's what I'm saying. Like, is it too good?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
I like Bogger Brute is a really good card. A really good aggressive card. So
C-.
Yeah,
D+.
C-. Yeah, C-, I would say. Although it's kind of funny if you pair this in white, like with red white, and red white is the one that supposedly cares about day and night flipping. Like putting a counter on this thing makes it pretty sizable. So just something to think about.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Electric Revelation. This is 2 in a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you discard a card, you draw 2 cards, and it's got flashback for 3 and red. Tormenting voice variant.
I bet. Who wants to play this? Blue red?
I guess, sort of. It's I don't know. 3 mana for this is
3 mana pitch a discard spell or pitch a flashback
that's
spell.
True. That's true.
And then there's 3 mana drawing 3 cards.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I'm not saying you load up on this. I'm not saying it's a high pick. Like it's probably just a C- or whatever.
Yeah, you can probably play a copy.
Yeah. Next is Moonrager's Slash. 2 in a red for an instant. Deals 3 damage to any target, but it costs 2 less to cast if it's night.
All right, I can't take credit for this, but I saw people calling this Nightling Bolt.
I mean, that's just like low hanging fruit, right? Like, that's easy.
But this card is real good.
This card's great.
Yeah.
This is a B-, a B.
Yeah, I'd give it a B.
I'm gonna go
B-.
B-.
I think it's a B. Going to the face is pretty nice too.
That is true. That is very, very true. It's open fire with upside.
Next, we got Neonate Rush. This is 2 and a red for an instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a vampire. Neonate Rush deals 1 damage to target creature and 1 damage to its controller. Draw a card. Weird.
Yeah, weird. Agreed.
So, like, I get it. It's like doing the vampire dealing damage to the face kind of thing for, like, relatively low opportunity cost. It's weird because, like, it's not a card I don't think I'm going to be playing very often, but, like, if you could magically put this card in your hand when your opponent had an X1, you'd be very happy with it, you know?
Well, and the other joke is that, that it enables all the damage matters stuff, even if you don't have attacks.
Yeah. I think we're not going to be playing this card.
D+, right?
Sure. I don't think we have to talk about it for too long.
Yeah. Pax Betrayal is 2 and a red for a sorcery. Oh no. Gain the dreaded words. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. If you control a wolf or a werewolf, scry 2.
So there's a non-zero number of sack outlets in this set.
What are they? I guess the black removal spell.
Yeah, there's the what is it? The 1 drop in black that pay3. Yeah. So I mean, what makes this different, I think, is that I don't think there's any zero
not stuff
mana.
there's not zero, and I don't think there's repeatable.
Probably not. Yeah, I don't think we have an AFR situation on our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in case, unless we're proven otherwise, and that's an application of this card.
This is a D+.
Yeah, I would love to see it, but well, I mean, maybe I'd hate to see it, but
we'll
see. Yeah,
I really do.
I'll join you with D+ there.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got Harvest-Tide Infiltrator. This is 2 and a red for a 3/2 trample. It's got day bound. It's a werewolf. The night bound side is a 4/4 trample. Yep, fine.
I think this is good. Yeah, solid C here. This is a 3/2 I'm interested in.
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
Or I should say a 3 mana 3/2 that I'm interested in. Next up, we've got Ardent Elementalist, 3 and a red for a 2/1. But when it enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, a little Archaeomancer or whatever.
Yeah, revolutionist or whatever, anarchist. I think is the This is pretty solid. The body's small, but they tend to be small on this kind of effect, and these cards always play out a little bit better than you think they might, right? Just like buying back a cheap removal spell, buying back anything you really want. That's the beauty of the card.
It's gonna be really annoying when your opponent goes turn 3, kill your thing with Nightling Bolt, turn 4, buy it back. That is gonna feel crappy. Like
I don't know. You want to go C+ on this?
I do.
Yeah, I can see this getting up to B- range too, but I'll stick with C+ for now.
I agree. Oh, this card! I love this card.
Oh yeah, it's this one.
Famished Foragers, 3 and a red for a 4/3 vampire. When it ETBs, if an opponent lost life this turn, add red, and it also has an activated ability of 2 and a red, discard a card, draw a card.
Yeah, sweet. This is like you mentioned on the podcast this week. It's cool that you have a place to put the mana if you don't have like a 3-drop to cast immediately. This is. For people who haven't played with Martyr Warshrieker, another thing you guys mentioned, like that card is really, really powerful when you get to go play my 4-drop, play another spell, like that double spell. I mean, people have probably played with Ardent Electromancer from Zendikar, and you remember those nutty curve outs, right? So,
but Ardent Electromancer was way harder to set up than this.
Yeah, you had some deck building requirements there, right?
Right. Sometimes it just added 2 or whatever. Like this is much more consistent, I think. This card feels very pushed to me.
It even plays well with the werewolves too, right? With the activated ability. So, yeah, I like this card. C+. I hesitate to give it a C+, but I think I'm going to go there.
I think a C+. It'll be interesting to see which of the two is better, like the Elementalist or that. Like, again, maybe it's just like, that's the blue-red one, and this is the red-black one, and now we have Tavern Ruffian, and this is the red-green one. Like, I don't know. And red-white seems to be left to fend for itself, but
in classic Innistrad fashion.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's true. All right, what's up next?
We've got Tavern Ruffians. This is 3 and a red for a 2/5. It's a red Wishcoin Crab. It's just the day bound side of this werewolf. The night bound side, that's pretty large. It's a 6/5.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So I guess maybe if you haven't played with werewolves before, the front side or this card just in general might seem a little bit, underwhelming. It's the front side's a 2/5, doesn't do that much, but the fact that like for 0 mana on a near future turn, it's gonna be a 6/5 attacking. That's pretty darn good. And of course, sometimes it just enters as a 6/5 for 4 mana, which is absurd. So I like this card quite a bit, actually. Like you said, I think it's going to be interesting to see where these 4 drops pan out because they're all pretty decent. But I'm going to start this one to C+.
Yeah, this is the one I'm the lowest of, so I'm just going on C here.
Okay.
But I guess we just have to keep an eye on where those shake out. Mounted Dreadnight is next. 4 and a red for a 5/4 Vampire Knight with Trample, and it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if an opponent lost life this turn.
Yeah. Fine 5-drop. It's threatening. Like when you're under the gun and your opponent's been pressuring and they drop this, it's like, oof. Okay.
And it's very good at enabling future damage matters stuff because
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, even if they they have a 4/3 or whatever, you're still trampling over.
Yeah, when we're trying to decide how good the 5-drops are during the set reviews, it's always tough because there's always it's one of those real contextual things. You're like, oh, this 5-drop's actually a lot better than it seems, But I'm going to start it at just a C- probably.
Yeah, I think I'll start at just a solid C, but
yeah, sure.
I could see it moving for sure.
All right, next we got Burn the Accursed. So this is 4 and a red for an instant. Burn the Accursed deals 5 damage to target creature and 2 damage to that creature's controller. If that creature would die, exile it instead.
Yeah, it's fair as Fireball 10 through 20, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the exile clause is pretty relevant. Yep, I think this is we'll see. This is another one of those contextual things where sometimes the 5 mana burn spell is not great. Right. I would bargain that this one is good because it's instant. It always deals damage to the face, and it's got that exile clause. So I think you're going to be pretty happy playing a copy. I'll just land on a C on this.
Yeah, I think I'm in for C on the first copy of that as well.
Right, first, moving to uncommons.
Yeah, first uncommon. I was technically X spells mana value are 1, so I put it here, and I was like, that's not really the case, but actually you could cast this for just 1 because it would still be relevant. So this is Lunar Frenzy, X and a red for an instant. Target creature you control gets +X/+O and gains first strike and trample until end of turn.
What a wild card.
This card is terrifying.
Such a nightmare to play around, right? There really isn't much playing around it. It's like you lose your creatures or you die a lot of the time.
You can always concede before it resolves, so that plays around it in a way.
Yeah, if you're fast enough to concede before the arena, doesn't let you concede anymore because the thing's gone on the stack already. But
right.
Yeah, I think that I could see this one being a little bit overhyped, but I don't know. I think, like you said, you can just cast it for 1 to give the creature first strike to win a combat, and then cast another creature or something. I just think this does so much. You've got to be careful not to run this into their open mana, so you don't go okay, fireball you, JK, you don't get 2 for 1. But as far as combat tricks goes, this is both modular, can be a 1 mana trick, and just is such good reach. I want to give this a C+. Or maybe even a B-.
I think this is a pull into red. Yeah.
Let's give us B-.
I want to go B-.
I'm going to do that. All right. Next up, we've got Play with Fire. Single red mana for an instant. Play with Fire deals 2 damage to any target. If a player is dealt damage this way, discard 1.
Yeah, I like this.
Cool. Shock with upside. Right? It's really cool. There's going to be times in the game where you're like, well, the shock's not really doing what it needs to do. Send it to the face and, deal them with some points. Let's see if I can scry into some action here.
Yeah, that's synergies with spells matter stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Also, it's it's instant, so something to do in a color that wants to pass and flip your werewolves. This feels like at least B- to me.
Yeah, I give it a B-.
Yeah. Taking this over Immolation, right?
I don't know. That's close. Three's a lot.
Wait, no. Immolation.
Immolation.
Plus
Sorry,
2/-2.
Of course. Yeah. I was thinking the bolt. Yeah. I for sure.
Okay. Cathartic Pyre is next. 1 and a red for an instant. Choose 1. Deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Cool.
Cool. Yeah, nice little modal card. Most of the time, large percentage of the time, you're going to use this as the deal 3, but it's really nice to have that little flexibility. I think this is probably a B.
Yeah, B seems good. I wonder if we'll see some like Jeskai-ish decks. Like all the like looting effects from red make me want to like play that with Disturbed.
Interesting, yeah.
Or Disturb. Sorry, not getting down with the sickness here. All right, next up, what do we have?
We've got Obsessive Astronomer. This is 1 red for a 2/2 human wizard. If it's not day or night, it becomes day as this enters the battlefield. And whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you can discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards.
I like this card a lot.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's man, it churns through your deck pretty darn fast. And like the option of just going 1 or 2. I mean, it says that on
and
cards,
also just like
but...
playing like this is just such a good. Like we need 2-drops in the format for werewolves. This is such a good 2-drop because it's good on turn 2 and then it's just good late game.
Love it. I want to give this like a B-.
I want to give it a B- as well.
Cool, sweet. B- for Obsessive Astronomer.
Thermo Alchemist is back.
Yeah.
1 red for an 0/3 human shaman with Defender. Tap to deal a damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, untap Thermo Alchemist.
Yeah, so if you haven't played with this card before, it's been, it was originally an Eldritch Moon, and it got reprinted in some Master sets. Often it's like, you're kind of planning the damage calculation when your opponent has this, and you're like, okay, well, maybe they can, they'll be able to deal me 1 over, the next few turns, each turn. Maybe they'll deal 2 a few turns, and then it's just like, your opponent untaps, and they, like, untap it, like, 4 times, and you're like, oh, good lord, I'm just dead here. I'm just dead in the next 2 turns or whatever. This thing can really go off.
This was probably just... Again, shifted up because 1, it was too good.
Yep.
In the previous set, and it's probably too good here.
Yep.
That said, I still think this is gonna be like even just having 1. I feel like it's gonna be a strong card.
Yeah, I would give it a B.
Yeah.
Yep. And blocks your ever so precious decay tokens ever so nicely.
That's true, man. Decay sucks. Never mind.
All right, next up we've got Flame Channeler. This is 1 red for a 2/2 human wizard. When a spell you control deals damage, transform Flame Channeler. So to anything, to creature, player. The backside here is a creature. It's a 3/3, and it says whenever a spell you control deals damage, put a flame counter on Embodiment of Flame. Single generic mana, remove a flame counter from Embodiment, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn.
Where do I assign? This card's cool.
Yeah.
I love this card.
So the thing is, you're not going to trigger all that often, right?
I'm not?
When a spell you control deals damage, how many burn spells are you going to have in your deck?
As many as I want. As
many as you can pick up. Let's say on the upper limits you have like 5. Right?
Sure. Well, yeah, it's not a lot.
No. But the baseline of the bear is totally fine. Right?
But like, yeah, play all those 3-mana deal ones, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. The Neonate card. I think this is a solid C+. And then it gets better in some decks.
Someone's saying spell includes creature deals damage on cast. I don't think that exists. 6 instant or sorceries that deal damage. All right, maybe this isn't that good. I mean, at its base, it's a good.
It's a bear.
It's a bear.
Yeah, I'm gonna
C plus.
Yeah, I'm gonna revise to C because I just don't think you're gonna flip this and get value out of it all that often.
All right, that's fair.
All right, what's up next?
Valderran Ambusher, 2 red for 2/2. It's a vampire archer. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, it deals X damage to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker, where X is the number of vampires you control.
Yeah, real appealing card here. It's like, ooh, Flame from Kavu, Basalt Ravager-esque card, right?
It's a lot of hoops.
Yeah, a lot of hoops, but a lot of payoff too. I think that, this is often going to be something. It doesn't have that sick curve out potential of like, come down as a huge creature, kills your best thing, then starts attacking. It's more like, it's more modest in a way where it's just like, all right, well, I can kill something relatively small, and then it's like, a fine creature after the fact, right? It's a 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good. I think it's like, going to be... I have a feeling the trajectory of this card in the format is going to be overrated if people are like, oh, this reads really well, I'm going to draft really high, but it doesn't play out that well. Then it's probably going to be a little underrated when people are like, oh, this card's, not that good, but it's going to end up being decent. So I think it's going to be a C+.
Yeah, I think it gets a build around grade from me.
Sure, yeah.
Because this is actually just a red-black gold card.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think, but I think in a dedicated vampires deck, I do think this is build around B for me.
Yep. Okay, next up we've got Spellroom Painter. This is 2 and a red for a 2/3. It's a werewolf with Daybound, of course, and it says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Spellroom Painter gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So kind of like Prowess, but only doesn't trigger off artifacts or enchantments or anything. In the backside, the Nightbound side is a 3/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
Holy cow!
Yeah, scary card. It's very close to
scary.
that whatever the Skrillex. I don't even remember. It was the very first card we did.
Yeah.
the red, blue, gold.
Feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah, it was 4 days ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very similar card, and I think this one plays pretty well too. Just threat of activation on attacks, and can really get out of hand. Actually, if you ever cast 2 spells when it's flipped, that's a really large creature. So I like it, and probably give it a C+.
Yeah, I like C+. I could see it even being a B-.
Yeah, that's fair.
We got Fangblade Brigand. It's 3 and a red for a 3/4 human werewolf. You can pay 1 and a red to give it +1/+0 and first strike until end of turn. It's got Daybound. Flip side, it's a 4/5, has the same 1 and a red +1/+0 and first strike ability. And it also has 4 and a red creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn.
What a monster. This card's real good.
This card is large and in charge.
So you're never blocking this, essentially, on the front side or the back side, and then when it flips...
what are you doing? Yeah.
And then when it flips, you just go, oh, I see, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Right? Your opponent says that. This card's fantastic. I want to give this like a B+, maybe.
B+, I think?
Yeah, let's give it a B+.
Cow. It's
Really
like demands to be answered with. So good.
All right, next up, we've got Purifying Dragon. This is 3 red for a 3/4. When Purifying Dragon attacks, it deals 1 damage to target creature defending player controls. If that creature is a zombie, Purifying Dragon deals 2 damage instead.
My decayed tokens. What do you think about this? You like it?
So yeah, I kind of like it. I think that there's like the Whelp from Gilded Ravnica. There's a very similar card. It was 3 powered though. I think the 4th power might push it over the edge. My one reservation, of course, is like a 5 mana 3 toughness creature, dying to like a bolt and not blocking very well the turn it comes down. That being said, I think it's got enough upside that I think it's actually pretty good and significantly better than that other medium dragon card we saw before. That was very similar to this in guilds, just because it has that 4th power and it can kill 2 toughness things sometimes.
Yeah, so this is like a C+.
Yeah, I might bump it up to. No,
this isn't a pull into red.
I think it is. I think it's still pretty good.
All right.
I'd go B- here.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are pointing out this combos with Blade Brand as well. So
that's funny. That. Yeah, there's your pinger.
Now here's a 5-drop I can get behind. Seize the Storm. 4 and a red for a sorcery. Create a red elemental creature token with trample, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard, plus the number of cards with flashback you own in exile, and it's got flashback for 6 and a red.
Yeah, like it's modular, so it doesn't, it keeps growing with the game,
it's not static like Experimental Overload or whatever.
Yeah, and so often, to just historically how these Innistrad decks have played out, it's just like you are spending sometimes a lot of your early turns like just like dumping cards in your yard with stuff like the Tormenting Voice or just whatever mill cards, and so you might think this is a card where you're like, oh, on turn 8, 9, where I've played out my spells, the game's gone on for a bit, I can make like a 5/5 or a 6/6. But sometimes, like, the way these decks play out, you can just like turbo this out, and it's going to be like a 5/5 on 5 sometimes, especially with Tormenting Voice and cards like that.
And then it just grows as the game keeps going.
Yeah, totally. So I'm in for this. I think this card's really threatening. I would give this a B.
Yeah, you mean it's a B in a blue-red deck? Yes,
B. Yes, be a build around or synergy B.
Yeah, I think I'm going to build around B+. I think this might be like the best
card,
the best non-rare for the blue-red decks that I think we've seen.
Potentially,
I think it's better than the 2 uncommons.
All right, last red uncommon here. We've got Village Watch. This is one last red werewolf here. 4 and a red for a 4/3 haste. That's the Daymount side. It's a little understated.
Yeah.
The backside is a 5/4. And it says wolves and werewolves you control have haste.
This is terrifying.
It's scary, yeah.
The front side being a little understated makes me like I'm not super high on it.
Right, yeah.
But it is still a scary card.
Yeah, I think this is closer to a C than some of the other good uncommons we've seen. So I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, it can be super scary if this flips and then you go, okay, you don't pass the turn, and you're like, if you have any werewolf here, I'm probably dead. So
yeah. I'm in for C there.
Sweet.
First rare we've got is Falcon Wrath Pit Fighter. Single red for a 2/1 Vampire Warrior. Pay 1 and a red, discard a card, sacrifice a vampire, draw 2 cards. Activate only if an opponent lost life this turn.
Well, not you don't need that much upside on your 1-mana 2/1, but turning your vampires into tormenting voices is, kind of, especially like maybe your more expensive ones early or your cheaper ones late is, reasonable upside.
This just seems so in a opposition to what the vampire deck seems to want.
Right. And often you want to pitch your lands to this kind of effect too, not your spells, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That seems fine to me, C-.
I would give it a C. I think the fact that it's a 1-drop that you get it down early to start enabling your vampire stuff, but also unlike some of the other cheap cards, it can trade with 2 and 3 drops if at the midpoint of the game.
I kind of wonder if you don't just want the ferocious vampire pup more than this. That is gonna actually deal your opponent damage on turn 3. Your opponent's, it's so awkward to be like, do I block this or do I chump this effectively because you can pump the mana into and make it first striker? This is just this is trading with whatever. This is never doing what the vampire deck wants to do, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't need to argue about this, but I don't think this card is. I don't think this card is that good.
Oh, it's not special. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You can also. Actually, sacrifice a vampire. You can attack itself.
Yeah. Again, why is that good?
Because
it's flexible. I get it, but
the point you just had about it being kind of irrelevant. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. That's why am I putting my deck?
I'm gonna give it a C.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. We've got Light Up the Night. Oh, man. What a card. So this is X and a red for a sorcery. Light Up the Night deals X damage to any target. It deals X plus 1 damage instead if that target is a creature or a planeswalker. Then it has a flashback cost that's not all that relevant. It's 4 mana and remove X loyalty counters from planeswalkers and deals X damage, where X is, the number of loyalty counters you remove, basically. So forget about that. Just read this as X and a red. Deals X damage to a creature, basically deals damage equals the amount of mana you spent on it.
Right, because if X is 0 and it's dealing a creature, it deals 1.
Yeah.
But if it's going face, this is really good.
Fantastic. Fireballs that can go to the face and only cost single red are already pretty darn good. The fact that the biggest knock against the fireball generally is that
you're trading sort of, down, right?
Yeah, it's sort of inefficient when you're trying to kill a creature. This doesn't have that problem, right? So it's just going to end so many games while being a good removal spell. I think this is an A-.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Really good card.
There's just a lot of oh, you thought you were playing a game of Magic? You're not. Yeah. There's so many cards in this format like that. Here's Bloodthirsty Adversary. 1 and a red for a 2/2 vampire with haste. When Bloodthirsty Adversary enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a red any number of times. When you pay this cost 1 or more times, put that many +1/+1 counters on Bloodthirsty Adversary. Then exile up to that many target instant and or sorcery cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard and copy them. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana cost. So straight up 2 mana 2/2 haste.
Not bad.
Then it's a 5 mana 3/3 haste.
Not great, but fact
that then you're casting a burn spell for free, hopefully.
Yeah. The fact that you get to cast a burn spell or just anything really, right? And the different color combinations are going to offer you different things. It's kind of a vampire card, kind of a blue-red card, kind of really great in any deck. I think this is probably the least exciting out of the cycle.
Okay.
That we've seen so far. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
but
it's still good for sure.
Good.
It's still a B.
Yeah, it's still a B.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Agreed.
Next up, we got Curse of Shaken Faith. 1 red for a curse aura. Enchant player. Whenever enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn, or copies a spell, Curse of Shaken Faith deals 2 damage to them. Nah. I mean, this is just like
Mount.
So at a certain point, it prevents them. Like when they really, really can't take damage, it prevents them from double spelling, which is just like not the end of the world. When it gets to that point in the game, when they're like, "Oops, like I really can't double spell," they're probably not going to even be able to double spell very often, right? So this is just an F.
Yeah. Smoldering Egg is next. This is 1 red for an 0/4 Dragon Egg with Defender. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of Ember counters on Smoldering Egg equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Then if Smoldering Egg has 7 or more Ember counters on it, remove them and transform Smoldering Egg to Ashmouth Dragon, which is a 4/4 dragon. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Ashmouth Dragon deals 2 damage to any target.
Yeah, sweet. So it's not going to be hard to flip this thing at all, right? It's just pretty easy, and then it turns into this monster. There's 2 mana, 4/4 flyer. Yeah, this card is just very good. This is just another A.
Yeah, that's nuts. Wow.
Sweet. All right, next up we've got Geist Flame Reservoir. It's 2 red for an artifact. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on Geist Flame Reservoir. 1 red tap, remove any number of charge counters from Geist Flame Reservoir. It deals that much damage to any target. It also has another ability. 1 red tap, exile the top card of your library. You can play it this turn.
Remove any number of charge counters from it. Deal that much damage to any target. Exile the top card of your library. Play it. Whoa. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
It's powerful, but also very slow.
Little slow, yeah. A lot slow, I would say, right? Like you're taking turn, not turn 3 necessarily, but you're spending 3 mana at some point
to do nothing.
And it starts to accrue some stuff. I think it's best, like, as the last thing you play, so you can start just like going like, I play this, I have a lot of mana to spend, my board's been developed to some extent, I start drawing some cards, then I'm accruing some charge counters, and I'll kill something at some point. So it's kind of like a, it's like a draw spell that you have to like keep putting mana into, but then it can kill creatures too. So it's good. It's slow though. I don't know. I think it's more. I don't know. I don't think it's like a powerhouse or anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of out on this card. I think.
Yeah, I think it's probably about like a C+ or a C.
Yeah, I kind of want to go lower, honestly.
Yeah, fair.
I think I'm gonna go D on this.
Okay, cool. I'll stick with C.
Okay.
I still think it's pretty decent.
Next, we've got Reckless Stormseeker. 2 red for a 2/3 human werewolf. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Okay, so a little Valor Singer upgrade.
Yeah.
But it's also got Daybound, so it flips to a Storm-Charged Slasher. It's a 3/4 at the beginning of combat on your turn. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains Trample and Haste until end of turn.
What a monster. All these werewolves. I mean, it is the werewolf set, but these werewolves are pretty busto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
B+ at least.
Yeah, I would give it a B+.
Yeah.
Seems about right to me.
Okay.
It's going to push so much damage, and hasty damage too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Next up, we've got Moonveil Region. This is 3 red for a 4/4 flying dragon. Whenever you cast the spell, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each of that spell's colors. Okay, so, you're basically going to be drawing 1 card off of this most of the time. Sometimes you have a gold card, but, a lot of times it's going to be like, I don't have anything in hand, I cast my last card, I draw another card. Has another ability. When Moonveil Region dies, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. So, probably going to deal 2, most likely.
That's super solid.
Oh, I guess, kind of a funny little edge case is if you have Decay, you can deal 3, right? Because you'll have a black zombie, and then, you'll in your blue-red deck or whatever.
Yeah. This is
very good.
hyper efficient 2-for-1.
Yeah. And to give you some card advantage. I think it's like an A.
Probably an A-, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Next up is another 4 mana flying monster, Sunstreak Phoenix. 2 red for a 4/2 Phoenix with flying. When it enters the battlefield, if it's neither day nor night, it becomes day. And whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, you can pay 1 red. If you do, return Sunstreak Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
So sometimes these Phoenix cards have this. I come back when I do this thing that only happens once every 5 turns or something. This one's just gonna happen a lot. It's gonna come back almost every turn. If you want it to, right? You can enable that. It's just another A. right? Just really, really powerful card.
Yeah, really hard to deal with.
Yep. Need exile removal or pacifism or something. All right, and our last red card here is Burn Down the House. This is 3 red, sorcery. Choose one. Burn Down the House deals 5 damage to each creature and planeswalker, or create 3 1/1 red devil creature tokens with this creature. Whenever this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And those devils gain haste.
Holy cow.
Really?
That's insane. So when
this is a Wrath I can get behind.
Yeah, because when it's good, when you want a Wrath, you get to Wrath. And when you don't, then you get to just get 3 of these devils. That's so good.
This is really, really good.
This is another A.
Yep. Red's got some bangers.
No, red-black is great again. Nice. All right, well, that's going to do it for red.